Next up is our first panel, Society Ripe for Change. For this panel, we are joined by 4 distinguished scholars. Please join me in welcoming our panelists.
Over 4 decades of repression and corruption have cracked the regime's facade, forging unbreakable solidarity among people, diaspora, and organized resistance. This isn't fleeting unrest. It's the maturation of social readiness for overthrow. The regime, marred by tyrannical terrorism, massacres, and the world's highest executions. The MEK and National Council of Resistance, they are the opposition's beating heart, underground cells to excite visionaries, enduring 47 years of torture with no hate, only hope.
Iran's economic collapse is structural. It is not temporary, and by no means it is the result of the sanctions. Economy has become a tool for repression and plunder, a tool for looting the country. And economic discontent has turned into a revolutionary force. It is accelerating towards a total regime collapse. And these megatrends manifest themselves in many areas, including income, inflation, oil, employment, banks, taxes, the private sector, inequity, housing, nuclear costs, and many other areas. Plunder, repression, and nuclear ambitions and proxy wars are deepening the poverty in Iran. Reform is impossible without totally collapsing this regime and rebuild again. Iran's social fabric is breaking under the weight of inequity, and finally, discontent has become defiance and resistance, and that is leading to an accelerating path towards total regime collapse.
Let's be clear. The Khomeini regime was not the legitimate choice after the 1979 revolution. He stole the revolution. A regime with no democratic mandate must find other ways to survive. Because it cannot rule by the ballot box, it built its identity on 3 pillars: internal repression, export of revolution, or better known as export of terrorism, and development of nuclear weapons, which was supposed to guarantee its survival. We now turn to the 3rd pillar, and the most telling sign of the regime's weakness. It's escalating repression. This is not a strength. This is a desperate grip of a regime whose only remaining language remains pure violence. How does a regime with these gross human rights violations try to hide their crime? They have tried to build a digital wall of censorship and control. Iran is ranked 177th out of 180 for press freedom. And its internet score is a decimal 16 out of 100. So let's bring all of this together. We have detailed a regime sustained only by execution, censorship, and economic and environmental ruin. But the most important point is that despite all of this, the Iranian people are more defiant than ever. You can see this defiance in the growth of organized resistance units, and you can hear in the brave public chants of death to Khamenei across all of the cities. These converging crises have created a society that is boiling over. The regime has shown it can only destroy, it cannot govern. And the people are showing us that an explosion of freedom is not just possible, it is inevitable.
Three nationwide revolts shaking all 31 provinces. Revolts from 2017, 2019, and 2022. Different triggers, one demand: an end to clerical rule. Each one ended a fallacy, a myth. The December 2017 uprising marked a turning point. Within a few days, protests spread to 142 cities, led by young, educated, and unemployed Iranians. The key slogan, reformer, hardliner, the game is now over, captured a new reality. A rejection of change from within and open defiance of supreme leader. In November 2019, a sudden fuel price hike ignited Iran's largest uprising in 4 decades, spreading to over 200 cities. Protests went beyond the street, striking regime strongholds, basic bases, police stations, Friday prayer offices, and a state bank, symbols of repression and corruption. The crackdown was ruthless. 1,500 killed, thousands arrested. 2 years later, September 2022, the death of Mahsa Amini, a young Kurdish woman, triggered a nationwide movement spanning 280 cities. This time, the message was unmistakable. The slogan, "Down with the oppressor, be it the Shah or the leader," summed up a national consensus, rejection of all forms of dictatorship. Whether monarchical or theocratic. This was no longer about reform. It was a generational rebellion demanding complete political change. Today, opposition reached far beyond the streets. MEK-affiliated resistance units, now active across more than 31 provinces, have evolved into a structured and organized resistance force, energizing communities, sustaining defiance, shattering the wall of repression, and igniting nationwide uprising. Within last year alone, the resistance units have carried out over 39,000 acts of defiance. Every crackdown deepens poverty and anger. Every protest crushed sows the seeds of the next one. In short, the regime's logic of survival has become its logic of self-destruction. To conclude, Iran's opposition has evolved from scattered protests to a permanent state of defiance. It is younger, more educated, and more conscious than ever before. It rejects both monarchy and theocracy, demanding a democratic, secular republic. The real question now is not whether another uprising will happen, but when, and whether the world will be ready to recognize and support the Iranian people's demand for freedom.